So it's a good time when you speak to team Axone. Axone. And I think one person who's been most active in this lockdown has been Sayani. This is my third interaction with her.
So good, Sayani.
I'm so sorry, Pooja.
No, I'm happy. I am happy because it's nice to meet somebody who's been busy and not getting bogged down by the lockdown.
Sayani is action-packed always.
Yeah, Vinay would know that, no?
Yeah. I know it so well.
No. I mean, it's been a good time in certain respect, you know. I mean, of course, there is a lot that one is not happy about just looking around, but just, grateful for having work and the work coming out finally, you know, and the fact that everyone's busy everyone's really waiting for content, and there's so much consumption. And this is literally like अभी जो भी खिलाओगे खाएंगे लोग चलो निकालो आँखों
खाने की बात हो रही है आप खाना ही लेकर आए हैं so it's literally actually food for thought. मुझे ये एक बात बताओ सेट पे Axone था वैसे and everybody was like that, and what is Axone? Please explain it to the non-Axone consumers.
Lin?
So Axone is it's made out of fermented beans. It's a long process to make, and every Northeasterner, it's a delicacy. You go to any South Asian countries like Thailand, Cambodia, China, Japanese, they would have it in their own forms, you know, they call it whatever they want to, but it is found in that part of the country. And usually you don't make a dish out of it completely, but since it enhances the food that you're cooking. Ask Sayani how many times she has to wash her hand after the shot cooking Axone.
I mean, Axone kitna tha set mein? Kitne every day you had to like inhale its fragrance?
Not every day, the cooking parts, the cooking days. Lin, I mean, we were in the kitchen, right? And it was very hot anyway. It was July in Delhi, and everyone was sweating, and that smell stayed, you know, like the stench was there. So we were smelling of Axone by the end of it, kitchen. But what happened was, you know, you've obviously seen the film, the end of the film, which is a celebration and the feast that happens. There was the real food and a lot of different kinds of variety of food. And that food was there, and we were shooting in a basement with like the entire cast and crew, like 100 people, 120 people inside, with no ventilation. And so the food through the day, and it had come, and they had probably, you know, like taken it or prepared it like the previous night or, you know, very early in the morning, and the food was just lying there rotting away. And we were all inhaling that fume. So people actually started like, I mean, by then a lot of people had already fallen sick due to various reasons. And then with the food also, people actually started feeling faint. But in one shot, I decided to feed Lin, okay? I just ate that food and fell sick. 2 people were hospitalized the previous night from eating the bad food. So, you know, Meenam, who actually gets married, Asinla, she was hospitalized the previous night. So when we are doing the walking shots, we are actually holding her because we are propping her, because she was actually like, she was in drips in the hospital.
My
so
God.
we were walking with her, holding us on both sides so that she doesn't fall, you know. So people were sick from that food, not only sick of, I mean, the smell, but sick from the food, and a lot of food poisoning happened because it was just rotting away.
Let me ask Vinay, आप बच गए थे sir Axone को inhale करके? Were you saved, or were you also like, did you also have to inhale it a lot?
मुझे खिलाया नहीं इन लोगों ने.
हमें अभी पता चल रहा है इन्होंने खाया नहीं. हम क्या करें?
मेरा छोटा सा रोल था. मैं, ये लोग मुख्य भूमिका में थे, मैं सह कलाकार था. और इन्होंने, मतलब मैं कब आया कब गया इनको तो ख्याल ही नहीं है.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
ये कहाँ खाने जाते थे. तो मतलब इन्होंने मेरे साथ वो सह कलाकार वाला बर्ताव भी किया. मैंने भी सह लिया क्योंकि मैं सह कलाकार था.
देखिए हर इंटरव्यू में ना ये ना ड्रिल करते हैं. नॉट हर इंटरव्यू, एवरी अदर इंटरव्यू ड्रिल्स इट इन. ओके, मैं तो सह कलाकार था और ये तो मुख्य भूमिका में है. और मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगी,
हूँ
अच्छा ठीक है,
इस फिल्म में मैं सह कलाकार हूँ. और ये इन्होंने देखा हुआ है, आप इनसे पूछ लीजिए, मुझसे क्यों लड़ाई कर रही है यार सायोनी?
नहीं, मैं और एक बात बोलना चाहूंगी।
ये लीड एक्ट्रेस वाले तेवर अभी से दिखा रही है हमें।
मुझे अभी याद आया।
I get to experience every interview they have done. And I'm just listening and laughing.
Just to put it out there, Vinay is one of my closest friends in life. I've been that way for many years now. But
just remember, this is how she treats her closest friends.
Let me finish, Vinay. Pooja, I would
तो सायोनी के नजदीक जाने से पहले ये सोच के रखें कि इनका जो बर्ताव होता है अपने क्लोज फ्रेंड से, अब आप सायोनी के मुंह से सुनी।
करेक्ट। तो हम लोग रोज बाहर खाते थे और काफी सारे नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न रेस्टोरेंट, स्पेशली एक रेस्टोरेंट था हेरिटेज बोल के, नागा फूड था, तो हम जाते थे। और एक दिन मुझे याद है, पूछा कि चलो हम खाने जाएंगे। विनय बोल रहे हैं नहीं अभी तो इंडिया वेस्ट इंडीज का मैच चल रहा है, अभी टेस्ट मैच छोड़ के कैसे बाहर जाऊं, मैं तो होटल में खा लूंगा। कट टू नेक्स्ट डे, विनय चल ना हम बाहर जा रहे हैं। अरे नहीं वो मैच चल रहा है ना, मैच छोड़ के कैसे जाएंगे, कल सुबह शूट है। He refused to come with us.
See, she's not at fault, but Vinay ki sir, how come you get into movies that have something to do with food? Abhi aapne Chintu ka birthday celebrate kiya, ya you're celebrating Axone pork. What is about you and food? Bheja fry bhi aapki picture thi, wo bhi bheja fry bhi to dish hi hai in a way, though it was nothing to do with the dish.
शायद दरिद्र ब्राह्मण समुदाय में पैदा होने का ये मेरा यही है कि ये दरिद्रता जो है ये सारा जीवन मेरे साथ जुड़ी रहेगी और मैं शिकायत नहीं कर रहा हूँ।
But coming to the premise of this film, which is very important, it's a breakaway from our usual films which are set in the UP hinterland with a Punjabi touch, is suddenly showing the Northeastern community, which is really nice, and also making some very profound statements. Like, recently I saw most of our film industry talking about Black Lives Matter. All lives matter, but do you think they are also culpable of intense racism? Like, we never stand up for the Northeastern rights, or we actually treat them like outsiders in our own country.
It's true. I think there's the answer in your question already. You said it. We never do. We need to question that ourselves. We never do.
Ladies.
I'm waiting for Lin.
Yeah, but not everyone is like that.
No, of course, not everybody, but most of them, yeah.
We can't generalize.
No, I agree, but like most of them. Kahan se aaye ho, Chinese lagte ho. I've seen it happen. I was in Delhi University. I've seen it happen in front of me.
Right. So, yes, we are racist. Like, racism exists everywhere, not only in India. But to feel it like this, like I'm going to talk from my personal experience. It's very, it's heartbreaking. Like, I get hurt, like, I'm an emotional person, but it's heartbreaking when you come out from your small little town, where, clean little place, and come to a big city and you're treated like an alien, where you have no connection and you're made to feel like an outsider, is where Pooja, it really breaks my heart. And I got to experience that very early on in life because I moved to Bombay when I was 15 or something like that. So, and I had to go through it and I had to live with it for very, very long. And a side of me started suppressing it, because kis ko badloge aap?
Yeah, same.
Like, you don't go around and start correcting everybody. I used to retaliate. I used to fight people on the streets, but kis ko badloge, So, but film like this, like Axone, is an eye-opener for a lot of people. People know that in Manipur itself, it's also complex. It's not easy. Just like, ye itne hai, to itne hi hai. But in Manipur itself, we have more than 24 tribes. These tribes have dialects. So it is, complex to that extent. So, but kya ho raha hai ki abhi film like this, like Axone, what will happen is it will open up doors, it will open up perspectives of people around, in the mainland, because that's where the attention is needed right now. And as we're going through COVID and this pandemic and lockdown and all of that, people will get to see this and realize ki ye bhi apne hi hai, ये भी अपने भाई बहन है, ये भी अपने ही है, like, you know, they also grew up singing Jana Gana Mana. We also, like, you know, we studied Hindi, all of that. So this will bring togetherness, and many more films should be made, you know, for people to understand this culture. Film is something which is easy to, you know, it's a visual medium. You know, people understand it better. So, और movie बनना चाहिए ऐसे.
I agree. Shivani,
शिवानी बताओ भाई.
what made you say yes also? And I mean, was it something that you felt needed to be expressed?
Of course, yeah. I mean, and also it's not just with the Northeastern community. I think we are extremely racist as a country. We also experience, you know, divisive forces for everything, you know, be it caste, class, religion, skin color, sexual orientation, gender, of course, towards people from the Northeast. So there is a constant, you know, conversation around us and them, right? Which needs to change, because there is really nothing like us and them. We're all different and diverse, but we're also one, you know? So, and the beauty, I think I feel so fortunate to be born in a country which is so diverse and so beautifully, you know, culturally different. And, you know, you travel every 50 kilometers, you'll find a new thing. And you can't really put anything in a box. So even when you talk about the Northeast, it's not a homogeneous entity. You know, it's not, there's a huge difference between people from Manipur and Mizoram and Sikkim and Assam and Nagaland and Tripura, because culturally, in terms of, you know, how they look are also different. You know, I can make out a difference between a Manipuri and a Mizo person, or a Naga person, or somebody from Sikkim or somebody from Tibet, because if you actually look closely, they look very different.
Yeah,
but the problem is you haven't looked enough. You know, you haven't looked that way at all. And so that has to be an inner change, you know, that awareness. And if we, you know, celebrate living in ignorance, then we'll never change. You know, you have to educate yourself. And this whole prejudice that exists, honestly, we all have it. Even people in every community has it, right? In spite of feeling we are woke or evolved, we also have it in other ways, you know. So, and as when, you know, we've all been discussing that racism has always existed. Yeah. Suddenly today, thank God, you know, it feels like maybe this will be the end of it, you know, post George Floyd. Suddenly it's almost like you know, people have had enough, but people have, it's like, you know, the things that Martin Luther King said is still relevant, right?
Absolutely.
We are still struggling with the same things that people were struggling with 100 years ago. So it's bizarre that, you know, how we should actually progress in a certain direction, but we haven't. And we keep, and unfortunately the climate we live in is becoming even more separatist and divisive. So that's why I feel, you know, cinema again and any form of art is able, I think it's a very powerful medium to bring about change, at least get people to introspect, and it starts a dialogue. And I always feel that my work should represent the politics I believe in, and represent people who are, that do not find representation most times, you know. So be it, you know, an Article 15 or an Axone, it's the same kind of thing, you know. You have a responsibility as an actor, as filmmakers as well, to reflect on things and again represent the marginalized, because, you know, Lin was saying something which really broke my heart. Yeah, that a journalist in a similar situation asked both of us that, what do you think of roles for women changing, or have they evolved? And she said, I haven't even gotten the opportunity to realize that, because I am a Northeastern first, you know. So mera to matlab caste hi nahi karta hai mujhe koi. So that's what, and it's just heartbreaking, because there is so much prejudice against people who look a certain way, even for roles that do not are not from a certain ethnicity. It's irrelevant. How many Northeastern faces do you really see?
Exactly. I was just coming to that. In Northeastern faces in mainstream cinema, because now we are talking about Hollywood, how representation of, irrespective of skin color, you know, where you are from, everyone's getting representation. You're not being caricatured. But in our own country, in our own industry, so even to you, I mean, do you see it changing, us becoming more diverse? Because we tend to caricature people.
Not anytime soon, yeah. Not anytime soon. I think it will take time. And I think films like Axone is a step, but films like these would keep happening. And they have been happening for quite some time now. You know, we've always had the independent cinema active, not as much in numbers, but they have been. It's not that there was no activity there at all. Even in the black and white era, we had films. Satyajit Ray made films like this. Ritwik Ghatak made films. So their films always spoke about the stigmas of the society that we live in. But it takes time. It takes time for a change like that to happen. I think a whole lot of things need to change. We can't expect the whole spectrum, everybody suddenly, had a change of heart overnight. It doesn't happen that way. It never happens that way. So, we need to, put in the seeds. Now is the time. Film like Axone comes out and, you have this dialogue, but this dialogue needs to be constant and consistent. We need to, make changes in our education system, because that's where kids start to learn about things, values, facts, geography, history. So we need to put focus there as well. And cinema is, one of the extension of education, and that's why it's really important for a film like Axone to, come out and at least start talking about it.
What do you, Lin, where do you see? Do you think this movie is a start? Will we see more from?
It is. It is. I mean, in the past, people have written about stories about Northeasterners, achievers, and there are movies being made, and they're, in the process, I keep hearing, oh, this one is making this film, this one is making that film from the Northeast. Many Manipuri stories have also come out. Yes, I do see that there will be a lot of these projects, and we're going to see a lot of these talents, faces, coming out from there. This is just the beginning, and also cinema is becoming, more approachable, more realistic. Like, for example, I just watched Patal Lok, which was a beautiful, realistic, take on our, society. So and it did very well, so people are not scared. The producers are not scared to put in money in a topic like that, where they showed transgender to, corrupted officers, to animal lover, and, a murderer, a crime, all of that. So I think it's becoming wider. As Vinay just said, it's not going to happen in one go, but it's a start. We have ignited, ignited with this film ki ye bhi hota hai, aise bhi hote hai, aise bhi log hai, aise karte hai. So yes, we've started.
I could relate to your character because I tend to lose my temper with get irritated with if somebody does not follow, what, ye kyun kar rahe ho, kaise kar rahe ho? I was like, this girl is me.
Oh, wow.
Totally. So
I am not like that at all.
I was just coming to that. Could you relate to your characters?
No. Lin, you are not like that at all.
Okay. Shiny, are you anything like Upasna? I don't think so in real life.
I didn't say it.
So, Vinay Pathak. No, you're right, Pooja. I think by now Pooja knows me. We've met too many times.
Semi koi ladki nahi hai.
Actually, Lin and I, we realized, in fact, I think yesterday or day before.
Yeah.
As an interview karte hue, Lin was talking. I was like, hang on a second. Actually, I realized Lin is more like Upasana and I am more like Chanvi. Exactly. So we've actually exchanged our characters. But actually, what Lin was, actually, I want to go back to what Lin was saying, answering your earlier question. Like with Patal Lok, to see a real transgendered person be cast as the character, it was just like, oh my God, I called up, we're all friends. I was like, finally. And then I was talking to Abhishek Banerjee, who's the casting director and also in it. And he was like, listen, she didn't want to do it. We had to really force, really convince her, because she's not an actor. But that effort was made from the makers' end to do that, and I think why would you not want to cast a real transgender person or transgender parts? I mean, you might or you might not, but that effort has to be made, right? Similarly, I don't think Axone seems to be the first film on people from the Northeast in mainstream. It's probably true, but it's also not true because you have had other films, but you haven't had real Northeastern people playing those characters.
Exactly.
So that's why this seems, and even the reviews that are coming out, I think people are talking about that. It's the first time where you see real faces, them talking in their own dialect, and you know, it's just so vibrant because it's mind blowing the diversity that there is, and you know, it's so colorful, it's so vibrant, it's just like, you know, it just like boggles you, right? I mean, and that's why Axone seems like a real pathbreaker in certain ways, you know.
Which is true because Mary Com, I mean, Lin was in that film. A lot of people wondered why was Priyanka Chopra cast as Mary Com. Yes, they had their own commercials to look at. They wanted it to be headlined by a lister, but maybe in some time we will see somebody from the Northeast playing the Northeast character, and you don't need
Amazon has made a series which actually has cast, in fact, one of our co-actors who plays Bendang, Lanu Akam, he's in that as well. So Amazon has a really big show coming out sometime this year, set in the Northeast and with a lot of people from the Northeast. So it's changing.
So as Vanessa said that I should not make those generalizations. That's what I meant. You know, they want A-listers. But anyways, as we wrap up, since it's all about food, which is the weirdest food dish you've all eaten? Weirdest.
Oh. I can't say it here.
Okay. Lin and Vanessa.
Even I can't say it then, yaar. How can I say it?
मैं सोच रही हूँ क्या है अच्छा.
I am not very adventurous actually, but not the weirdest. I would say the most beautiful thing I would like to point out is I went to an Ethiopian restaurant in New York.
Oh my God! Is it opposite Cafe Wa?
I don't remember. Vishal took me there, and we all ate from one plate.
Yeah.
And it was the most beautiful thing ever.
Yeah.
I mean, the food, it was so beautiful, so colorful, very close to Indian cuisine. But kuch tha usme, which I still I have very fond memory of eating that food, and the company I had obviously mattered. But that was the most beautiful, but weirdest, I don't remember. Actually.
Underrated and overrated dish.
So I mean, I can't tell you the weirdest things. I'll tell you later in person because I eat most things, and I've had some very exotic things to eat because they were cooked for me. I was taken to a snake shop in Hong Kong by my best friend, but I just couldn't eat. I mean, it was just like, I couldn't. But if it was prepared and brought in front of me, probably I would have tried it. But I have to tell you, the most beautiful meal I've had in my life, and I'm quite a foodie, but we were shooting very close to a place called Patni Top in Kashmir, and we were shooting with Bakharwals, and they manage livestock and they're vegetarians. So, and they are nomads, right? So they sort of fend for like whatever grows wild around them. And we were a team of like 35 people or something. And I remember they had prepared food for all of us. And it was literally a valley surrounded by mountains on all sides. And they had made all vegetarian food from like, things like look like grass and like wild, it wasn't grass, but it was just like wild hedges, and just wild greens that would grow around them, and like wild tomatoes and stuff. And I have to tell you, it was just the most delicious thing I've ever, and probably it was the minerals of that place that was in, there was that so much nutrition, but also the love that they made it with. It was just stunning.
सर पार्टिंग शॉट आप दे दीजिए, आप बता दो अंडररेटेड ओवररेटेड फूड एनीथिंग.
नहीं, ओवररेटेड अंडररेटेड की बात नहीं है. मैं भी फूडी हूँ, मैं शाकाहारी हूँ, मैं वेजिटेरियन हूँ, तो मुझे भी तरह तरह का खाना बहुत पसंद है. लेकिन what I have discovered in the recent years that for me the new cuisine has become the home cooked cuisine.
Yes.
It has become, you know, my new love. So even when I go on an outdoor or if I'm, so I just try to find that quality. अगर कोई एडी मिल गया जो वहीं का रहने वाला है, मैं कह रहा भाई मतलब अपना टिफिन तो मुझे दे दिया कर, तेरे लिए जो बोल मैं मंगा दूंगा. And I do that a lot because I find because आप जहां भी जाएं, जिस प्रदेश में जाएं, जिस राज्य में जाएं, खाना अलग होता है, लेकिन जो घर का खाना बना हुआ होता है ना, अलग होते हुए भी something very 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 special. This I'll tell you was encouraged and taught to me by late Om Puri साहब. मैंने अपने करियर की शुरुआत में उनके साथ काम किया था, मेरा पहला काम उनके साथ था. And his last film was also a film that I was associated with him. He had this thing, even on an outdoor, वो लखनऊ में शूट कर रहे हैं तो वो मतलब देखेंगे कौन है लखनऊ का रहने वाला और यार तू घर से वो बना के ला, वो बना के, और वो खाना शायद रेस्टोरेंट से भी आ जाए, लेकिन his whole thing was कि यार वो घर से बन के आएगा ना तो उसका कुछ. And I realized that how bang on, you know, he was when it came to, you know, home cooked meat. So I that's what I look for, you know, किसी के कहीं भी जा रहे हैं, बाहर भी जा रहे हैं, तो किसी के घर का खाना अगर मिल जाए, किसी शूट में है, आउटडोर शूट में है, कोई अपना टिफिन लेके आता है, बहुत सारे यूनिट में लोग आते हैं, तो I try to bribe that person.
और वो एक्चुअली आप जब शूटिंग पे जाते हो और आप एक ही जगह पे रोज रोज जा रहे हैं, आप एक्चुअली ये सब मैंने विनय से सीखा है कि एक आसपास के कुछ लोगों को आंटियों को पटा लेने का और उनको ऐसे स्वीटली स्माइल करके आंटी करके उनसे खाना खाने का.
Trade secret बता दिया शायनी ने. But thank you so much for the lovely dish that you've served, and well, keep entertaining us. Thank you so much. All the very best. And it's a lovely film. I would tell everybody to watch it. It's really lovely. And I need to try Akhuni. I need to try it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye bye.